You gonna intro this one?
I was gonna say, there is nothing more than I love in a rock star.
Oh, I know.
I mean, forget it. Like, we've had a lot of people on the show.
I was literally thinking, is Gavin our first rock star?
Yes.
I think so. Welcome to the podcast, Gavin.
Thank you.
If you live under a rock and don't know, Gavin is the frontman for the iconic band Bush. Part of my childhood, honestly. But you also have a new show called Dinner. That's a cooking show. So we'll get into that in a bit. But thanks for coming. Tish is very excited if you can't.
So stoked.
Thanks. I'm excited too. It's beautiful to be here.
Thank you. I come from a music family. We both have been around music for so long. It's great to be able to talk about music with someone else. I love hearing people's story about how they got started, especially when it was from a young age. And I would just love to hear from you, where your inspiration for music came about and how you got started and how old you were.
You know, it was a weird one because I was always in love with music, and I did that thing. Malcolm Gladwell talks about it, that record shop up the street from my house. So anytime I'd get any money for chores from my dad, I would go up and I'd buy records, from an age of 13. And I didn't really think about ever being in a band because no one in my family was musical, right? So I just had this I lived in a reasonably kind of rough area. So no one was really into the music I liked when I was getting into it. And so the kind of music that I liked when I was playing football or soccer growing up, the people didn't like that much David Bowie, that sort of thing, then all the punk world. So it was like this, almost like a secret world for me, listening to that kind of music.
Yeah.
And then when I left school, I was thinking I didn't really want to get a job.
I feel like that's the motivation for a lot of kids.
I was like, what can I do that's, I can apply myself to? I'm not going to be so I just thought, why don't you try and be in a band? And at about 14, my sister's boyfriend was in this band, and I had been helping put stuff into rehearsal rooms, stinky, dark, beer smelling, stale, terrible rehearsal rooms, cold, and I loved them. I loved their energy, And so I used to help him. He gave me a bass, but when I was about 16, 17, which was really late, right? I started to play guitar. And when I first wanted to be in doing music, I knew someone that was a guitar player. So I just would sit in front of a tape recorder and I made these songs up. I don't know what they were. I just would sing bits and I was like, yeah, put some chords to that. And, obviously we were terrible. And then it took a while, but we signed a record deal reasonably soon, actually. And I did that band, Midnight. What I found is that writing was a really great outlet that I hadn't anticipated. I hadn't known that there'd be this kind of roller coaster ride. It would get me out of where I was. I just sort of didn't think that I could, my kids sing and play amazingly and they have this confidence, so that's what they should do. Maybe you guys have this musical family. I just did that and was terrible for ages, and then I got good, and then I got on my journey. I got better, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how it went. But yeah, I was definitely a late bloomer, which I think is really cool because I like doing everything wrong. There's something to be said for just getting everything the wrong way around. I come from London. I was making Bush, and I thought it was the least commercial band out of the three that I'd ever been in. It was the first time I wrote songs myself, because other times I had a guitar player, and I was a terrible guitar player. I'm not that good now, but I wasn't really no good then. It's like I was a busker, bad busker, an underpaid busker at the time. And so anyone I was in a band with, especially the second band, he wouldn't let me play guitar. And he was a really good guitar player, and he was right. It's not really about that, because there's a million better singers than me, a million better guitar players, but the way that I can put together in Bush just makes it a certain thing. When I was looking for someone to start a band with after my second band had failed and everyone had left, I'm always standing there in both bands. I thought, God, how weak that you can't play guitar for yourself and you have to look for a guitar player to kind of give you life, to resuscitate you. You're like a dead, half a lung. So I just sat down and started writing songs, and that's how it began, really. And I didn't intend to write so many songs myself, but my band at the time weren't really interested in that. We made a nice deal, so it was all everyone was earning money from the publishing. Not all of it. I'm not an idiot. Don't worry, Tish. And but enough that it wasn't a big lifestyle difference for any of us. So it didn't make that much difference. And they did really well because you used to sell records then back in the day. Probably the audience might not remember that, but there was a time when you could sell records.
So were your parents supportive when you did start getting into music and wanting to pursue it?
Yeah, disinterested.
Really?
That word.
Interesting.
But instead of like, yeah, good, great. Brilliant.
You probably just
are you doing good? Are you happy?
Or...
Doing good? My dad, I used to be like, look at this. This is going to be my life now. And I'd be sitting there writing terrible words, and he'd come in and I'd be like, look, isn't it weird? Like, you had to do all that work, go to work. All I had to do was come downstairs and think of something. But it took me a number of years before I got anything for it. People say, oh, I've been playing Mozart in the belly since before and you're like, okay. And then they sound like they're dentists, as a real estate agent, it's like, and I think that it's interesting to have no support and just forge it on your own.
Totally.
So from a place of London, like I was saying, doing that music, I just thought it was not very commercial. I was like, well, at least you're going to die with some respect. Maybe the other band, it wasn't my style. It was a good rock band, but it was like more traditional. Which wasn't my style.
Yeah.
I've never really used the blues too much.
Okay.
Apart from slide guitar. But I've never really used blues progressions or blues scales at any of my music ever. And if anyone tries to play the blues on it, I'm always like, whoa, easy, tiger. I like the sort of bit more kind of different sort of harmonic stuff.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? I feel like, so many people in music chase that commercial sound or what's the radio going to play and let's just use the formula and make a hit song. But isn't it interesting that a lot of times the more authentic, original, creative sound is what people gravitate towards the most? And clearly, like, you guys were proof of that.
And I think as well, what's interesting, I think about that, because I just finished a new record that I'm really excited about for a new Bush record. And, I was thinking there's this really weird thing that the further inside you go away from everyone else to get right inside to what you're thinking, what you're feeling, when you can articulate that, it ends up being more able to communicate with other people, more able for other people to adopt than you could ever imagine. You think it's your private world, but it's such an interesting landscape. And I realize that now that my whole life has been this dedication to sort of mental health, spirit, everything I've ever written is sort of like one or 3 songs, maybe all the same things about challenges, about, rising up, about not drowning, about finding a way through, and never sort of doom laden, more sort of realistic, I think. So when people that like me in my algorithm, my world, in the Bush world, that's what people always talk to me about, is just that the comfort they get from those songs, which is like the greatest thing that anyone can say to you, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think like writing songs sometimes about the things nobody wants to talk about and the feelings nobody wants to talk about is what most people can relate to. It's like the things no one is saying is the things that people hear in a song and just like feel like, oh my gosh, that person gets me, or it's like they're in my head and like that's how I feel,
So relatable.
And that's the cool thing for me about music is like you can say a lot of things that you can't just like say like in a sentence or in a conversation, but like somehow when you put them in a song, it like says more than you could ever hope for it to say.
Totally.
And I definitely like feel that way with your music. And I think that's really cool that you recognize how like now looking back on it, that you've probably like helped so many people through your music, and created such a community of fans.
Yeah, it's a privilege, it's crazy.
So how old were you when Bush started to really take off? Were you pretty young?
Mid-20s, so it's relatively late, but like I said, there's further things I do wrong. I shouldn't have had a shot at I signed to a small label in the Valley, independent label. I was living in London, so I made my record and then the 16 Stone, the first one, and I thought, brilliant, I've made the record, who cares, I can die now, I'm done. I made my legacy, and we'd lost a distribution deal. So I went back to work for 4 months. Wow. I was back working.
Doing what?
I was painting a decorator. I painted 11 dentist offices right by myself. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was like Kafka.
It's hard work.
It was like, because it's magnolia, which is the really terrible color. So they do it so that it can be stained and it could last for years, not pure white. And they were all the same. So it was like number 4, is this number 5? I did 11 of them. And at the end of that, and I remember going one day and they called me and I was in the pub and they said, it's incredible. Oh my God, your record's being played on K-Rock. This is it. And I was like, amazing. What is that? What is that? That's from North London, So
yeah.
Then I came over here and then we just seemed to go on tour forever since then. That was against all the odds. Mad. I mean, like this independent label. I did get, then when the distribution then became Universal. So then it became like a corporate band, like then I was with, Ted Field, over at Interscope. That was incredible. But I began, like, for instance, the guy that did the cover, I got Ray Gunder's magazine. I love that magazine. He got some indie kid to do the binary thing for the cover of 16 Stone. And then, years later, when it was like doing really good, the kid was like, you told me this was an indie project. I got like $500. I need money off of this. So I don't know if they had to settle more, but that's how
I feel like that happens a lot.
That does happen a lot.
I had to buy my publishing back. I do have a knack for writing songs. So even when I began, even when they weren't good, I couldn't sing them well, there was something about them. So even 6 months after beginning music, I got a publishing deal, £5,000. And my record came out on my first band on Epic, and it didn't really do it in 2 singles. Years went by, and then when I was doing Bush, they were like, oh, you're still signed. So I had to pay $350,000 to get off. I was still signed. I was like, oh my God, you've done, anyway. So.
But did you own all your publishing now?
Yes, I bought my publishing back.
It's amazing though. Yeah.
Bought half of it. I was able to buy it back from someone. But literally a fucking yard sale. The guy that began our label got into difficulties, and this was collateral, and he just gave up the master. Then someone had the master and didn't want it, or he was selling it to someone else, and I had to chase it around. And then I found out this one guy who was buying it. I tried to buy it with an investment company, and then I heard this other guy was going to buy it. And it was a really nice story, Josh Gruss. He worked one summer on a Bush show, and he always wanted to, he worked at a concert or something like that. And then when he became this kind of label guy with money or publishing, and he was trying to build this sort of publishing house, he heard that I wanted to actually buy my own thing from this guy who was putting in the yard sale. So he let me buy it with him, which is really generous.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Totally.
I know you keep saying like you were such a late bloomer to have success in, your mid-20s when things started to kick off for you. But I think the really cool thing about that is it sounds like you were able to have like a pretty normal childhood for the most part. And in a way, I think getting famous that much older is better because by that time, I feel like you have a pretty good idea of who you are and what's important to you by like mid-20s versus like my sister who started so young, like 13, and really having to give up her entire childhood to do what she did. Do you feel like you had enough of like a normal childhood?
Well, I mean, like everyone, my story is interesting, but I grew up with my dad, so it was cool, but I think it was full of interesting things. It wasn't idyllic, but it was great things, and was so grateful when that success happened because it felt like I belonged there in my world, you know what I mean? There's tons of people way bigger than me and all that sort of stuff. But it just, as soon as I was on stage and I had a career and I had a following and I could work and I could exist, it felt like the best place ever. And I realized that looking back, that all the other years I'd felt really displaced and not comfortable and hadn't found my place and, was severely underrated for years and failed for years and struggled for years and poor for years and all that sort of stuff. That makes you interesting.
Totally.
Which worries me about my kids. So I don't know, you did a great job because obviously there was sort of resources, but everyone's amazing that you have. You've made amazing people.
Thank you so much. And I take sole credit for that.
She truly does. There is no humility in that.
There isn't. No, I honestly say like somehow it worked out for us and in a way that I'm so, especially like, it's the same thing. I mean, when you're a mom, your daughters become your best friends. I managed Miley since she was 12.
Right.
And
great job.
To this day.
Great job.
And somehow like we're still best friends and she still wants me around all the time. And we have such a beautiful relationship as I do with my youngest and Brandi. And I look at like so many young kids that started in the business really, really young, and a lot did not make it out the same way. And it breaks my heart. And for me, it's the one thing I look at and go, oh, like, I don't know how we did it and how, like, I kind of navigated it, but somehow it turned out really well.
There were some road bumps.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's life.
There was a lot.
It's like, it must be so difficult because when you making it and doing good and having a big record or big tour, people are excited for you, they're there for you, but there's nothing harder when it just slows down and another trend comes along, and the carousel turns in a different direction.
Yeah.
Still doing the same thing, maybe still as valid, but people are like, yeah, but look at this new thing.
Oh, totally.
And no one, so the the idea that at least with Miley, she just continued to soar. But wow, it must be so difficult if you've had all that attention, say to 20, then suddenly you're not quite as cute as you were when you were a certain age. You're like, oh, that's a tricky one.
Totally.
And don't have that. Like, where do they go then? And I'm worried about too many things, so I can't worry about them. But it does strike me as like that's really tough. At least with Miley, she continued on and just has pretty good career.
And grew up in front of the world, which wasn't easy, you know. And I think Miley's done so much work on herself with her therapist, and she really worked through a lot of those issues as she was kind of growing up, which really made such a huge difference. But yeah, she did continue to grow. And I think in this business, that's kind of hard coming from being so young.
Nearly impossible.
It really is.
Because you must get so entitled and you can't help it. If you're like 12 years old and people running around after you, you can't help being entitled and near the shit.
When people did that, I got them out of her life. I was really good about like, no, that's not how this is going to go. Right. Just because I never wanted it to be that way. And she really isn't at all.
That's
like,
awesome.
She's very grounded. And
she comes across as super grounded.
Yeah, she really is.
I love her. She's amazing.
You know, enough about me and Miley. We'll get back to, but
you mentioned that at least one of your sons plays the guitar.
All three. They
boys. All do.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask how you navigate the good and bad of the business, and how do you handle, encouraging them, but also protecting.
Yeah, it's really weird because they haven't got to a point yet where my two older sons, who are 16 and 18, they've both been recording. One's recorded one. He's a country singer, Zuma.
Oh.
And he sings, he's just unbelievable. He's an unbelievable
Maybe he
singer.
can actually do something.
He's unbelievable. He's a staggeringly good singer. And then my other son, the elder son, Kingston, he is an unbelievable singer as well. Like, it's annoying to not be the best singer in the house anymore. He writes incredible songs. That's what he wants to do. So he wants to finish his high school in June, and that's what he wants to do music. And I'm like terrified for them both, because I don't know what that means. I know what it means for me, that I have 5 months of shows ahead of me.
Yes.
And then they just asked me, would I consider December and January? I was like, no, I can't go to Australia and Japan. I just come home. I have them half the time. And when I tour, they go with their mum. But the 18-year-old, he's lived with me since June. He lives with me the whole time.
So are you like fully supportive of them wanting to pursue music?
Oh, I think that I'm a really good dad because I really support them and I don't push. Like, it's weird because, I say things like, do you want my warm-up tape? Because it's really good for Dad. Country singers don't warm up. They don't do it. So he tortures me, my son. Oh. He tortures me. So I'm there. I'm like there to help him, whatever he needs. I say to him, hey, if you ever want me to record you, we've got a studio here. If you want me to record you. And then it turned out he'd made a recording somewhere else, I think in Oklahoma. And I was like, he's brutal.
Sounds like boys.
I said, I heard your recording and it's amazing. You sound incredible. Thanks. Not like, yeah, we'll get to it, Dad. Don't worry. We'll do a session soon. Nothing. I'm like pleading, going around. So you have to let them be independent.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
If they want to come and play me things or ask me anything, they play me something, I say, am I going to can I say one thing? Can I say just one thing? Actually, I won't say anything. Don't say anything. Just play it again. It's great.
I kind of walk that line too.
Yeah,
I have to walk that fine line. Yeah,
like,
totally
it's an
pick my
interesting
battles.
thing. Like, I love, I cook for them. It's a big thing for us to have that time. When I make food, we all sit around. We have big, long dinners together. And it's weird because what I'm a terrible dad at, and I haven't figured it, they don't help. They're kind of lazy.
They just let you do it all.
They literally call me. They're like, is dinner ready yet? Even in a restaurant, you have to sit down. And
exactly.
A couple of minutes delay.
I'm cracking up.
What's happening with this? Why do you think you got to do that? But I do it because I can't be bothered. And sometimes they'll come in and help. And I don't want to be a nag. I'm like, I make them, they have to take it all off from the table. They have to put it all on the sink, whatever they have to do after that. But what I find amazing is that when they've been at their mum's, they'll do the cooking.
Oh.
So they're watching and they're seeing. So when they're over there, then now they're the shit. We got this. We're going to make that. But when I'm there, It's like, when is it? What time's dinner? What is it tonight? Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's why I'm a bit of a pushover. It's annoying. I didn't get that bit right. I should have been a bit more drill sergeant, set the table,
I don't know.
the plate. And I've picked my battles to not get annoyed about things. I used to get like a bit of conflict about whether or not I wasn't disciplined enough with them. I've never had an argument with them. Never really argued. I've told them off about things and they piss me off, but it's never been like they think A and I think B and we just keep bashing it.
Yeah.
It's usually straightforward what's going on, what's happening. I used to have this really good habit of apologizing to them if I lost my shit when they were the kids, you know. I'd be like, I'm so sorry that I was a really unreasonable adult an hour ago. I'm not actually that person, and keep reading. You're doing great. Let's go back to that, because I would realize that all those Indian mystics talk about this thing about how the kids are the smart ones and the cranky adults running around trying to regulate are just the kind of annoying, and the kids are just full of joy and wonder, and I don't take on every battle.
Yeah. You can't.
Too many. My country singer, Zuma, he comes in and sings. I'm making dinner. He sits right there. He'll play songs for me. Play like 5 songs straight. It's incredible.
Wow.
Really sings so well.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Interesting that he's doing country. I love that.
Well, it's obviously he's been spending time in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He's around Blake and he's around those people. And I think that he's an incredible spirit. And what it is that I understand, it's like they live in Encino. I mean, no disrespect, but he doesn't feel it. He doesn't feel any soul there.
Right.
What he feels in Oklahoma, as I understand it, and specifically Oklahoma City, where a girl he's met lives, is the soul, is the history of music. He's interested in playing the blues. He's interested he's obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan. So we've been playing Double Trouble, which is a big record when I was growing up. And he loves that. And I grew up loving Stevie Ray Vaughan. I didn't play the blues because it didn't seem appropriate. I was from North London.
Yeah.
It seemed a bit weird, right? But I could appreciate, and that's my favorite, it's just Stevie Ray Vaughan playing is just fantastic. Hendrix, all those actually blues guitar players I grew up with. But you can be inspired by people. It doesn't mean you should do what they do. It just means their sort of essence, their spirit, their energy is circulating around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, nobody creates a unique sound by just copying their inspiration or their idols or anything like that, I think.
And yeah, it's important to start with an aesthetic in mind,
Yeah.
You're going to have a little thing,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, pulling from different places and different artists, I think it's how people, push boundaries in music and create new genres. And I think that's really cool.
Me too.
I'm sure, even though he's pursuing country, I'm sure he pulls inspiration from you and from music that you had been listening to growing up.
He came on stage for his birthday and he played to like 15,000 people. We played on one song with us and just loved it. Just because he did it when he was a kid. So I have a picture of him when he had a toy guitar and he used to stand with my tech.
That's so cute.
Play along with me. And then I got him on stage and he's playing behind me. I got a picture in Cleveland. He played 17,500 people and I couldn't get him off stage. Because I was thinking, how's he going to go? And I think I was into hot yoga at the time. So I think I was on my back and I'm staying over and I'm doing this long intro and looking at him thinking, he's not going to leave. And so I have a picture of him on stage when he's like 5 or 6 and he's on stage with me when he's like, for his 16th birthday.
That's really
good. Now, and he's incredible.
If you're anything like me, it's sometimes really hard to give your body all the nutrients it needs, especially after a long work week or a really busy weekend. I feel like you just feel completely depleted. But there's a company called Prolon, and it's a 5-day fasting mimicking diet that works at the cellular level to rejuvenate you from the inside out. Now they've upped their game and they have a new program called Next Gen 5-Day Program. And it's delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and even more flavorful format. One of my favorite things is Prolon is plant-based nutrition. And its program features soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. It was developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top medical centers. Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. So, if you'd like to try Prolon, for a limited time, you can be the first in line to experience the new Next Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering Sorry We're Cyrus listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. So just visit prolonlife.com/Cyrus. That's prolonlife.com/Cyrus to claim your 15% discount and your $40 bonus gift. That's prolonlife.com/Cyrus.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you love to cook with your kids. You have this new show. With what? For your kids. Correct. For your kids.
Not
Sometimes
with.
they do help.
Sometimes with. I love the idea of making that like a group activity though. I feel like, but yeah, so you have this new show called Dinner with Gavin, which is so unexpected.
Isn't it wild nowadays to do anything that's surprising?
It's very cool. Yeah. And obviously you love to cook.
I just couldn't get on TV any other way, I guess. I had to figure out my way in.
Yeah. Well, how did you begin cooking? Where did this passion come from? How did you get good at it?
When I was coming up and I didn't have much money, so we'd buy these big bags of pasta and then we'd make all these different things. And I lived with a friend of mine who'd grown up in a restaurant. So it annoyed me. At that age, you're much more competitive. You know, so it was annoying that he could cook all these things. And I was like, I could do a shrimp stir fry or something and a tomato sauce, you know. So I learned from him and watched him. And then I just really got into it. And then, of course, when people pay you, you can then go out and you can try nice restaurants. I think that food is such an incredible glue between people, sort of a conduit for like everything. And it just seemed to be something that I just had a passion for. And then I found I had a knack for it.
I think some people just do, right?
I just had a way. It doesn't stress me. I can cook for 20 people. I can cook. Nothing stresses me like that. I mean, I get stressed if things mess up, you know, and I'm a bit like, I try and make things right, but I cook with people around, talking. I'm really relaxed. And I was thinking about, a number of years ago, because I began it like 7 or 8 years ago. I shot the pilots.
Oh, wow.
I just got no for 7 years. Same with my music.
Tish knows all about getting no's for
7 years of
TV.
You know, I got no, I've always had no. And it's probably fair enough. You know, when I first began in music, it was no, my voice wasn't good enough, you know. And then when I made it work, actually that became the thing that got me somewhere. So with the cooking, it's just a great way for us to really connect. It's an excuse because otherwise it's quite hard to get everyone together. And then I was thinking, how do I get to stay home so I don't want to have to travel? I was listening to your podcast with Wiz Khalifa, who's amazing, by the way. I really enjoyed it. What a great guy. It's so good because I didn't know anything like that about him. He's such a stay-at-home dad and doing that.
Yes.
I was like, huh?
Takes his
He's up at
school
6
every
in the morning.
Yeah, he's impressive.
I was like, I loved him for that. We shared a tour manager once. It's just great to do that. And I was thinking, how can I stay home? And like you said in the podcast thing about how everyone had known you for years, but you lacked a voice.
Totally.
And I was considering, I was going through a lot about 10 years ago. I was like, wow, you just got no voice. And it's like, and when I go and sing on a TV show, which I've been lucky enough to sing on loads, all of them, no one gives a shit what I have to say. You know, I just sing the song and I fuck off.
Yeah.
So when I did I was like, oh, to the cooking show, there's a whole different thing and I can talk and, you know, and be myself, which doesn't come across if you just play the records, you know.
Right.
It's a different thing. So that combination of things. And then I didn't realize that it takes so long and it's so difficult. And TV is like, we'd go and have meetings. I had 4 production companies. I had meetings with people about making the show that you'd be like, call them up, see if there's what they think of the show. We'd have great meetings always. People loved the sizzle. It was amazing. But that department wouldn't exist anymore. Oh no, we shut that department and everything got shut down. And then Netflix would take on other cooking shows. And I think they had some other celebrity cooking. Mine's not a cooking show. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's not. It's like an interview show.
Right.
And the cooking is like a secondary. Happenstance. Like I don't make food to stare at you while you eat.
Right.
And be like, do you like it? Oh, do you like it?
Yeah, no,
that's annoying. It's like if you have a conversation, if they refer to the food, that's great. And if they don't, they don't, you know.
Yeah. So just so you know, I feel like we have a lot in common.
I know you guys are very similar.
Because I have a production company, and so I know all about exactly what you're talking about. But I had this idea, years ago, and I was calling it Sunday Supper. And it's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm not a cook, so I wanted to have different people come and cook, like different types of chefs for like whoever came. Yeah.
Someone else does the work.
And but I was like, you know, wherever they're from, we could have that cuisine, but it wasn't about the cooking at all. It was all about sitting down together and having conversation.
That's great.
And so I love that you're doing that. I think that's where everybody is so fast paced these days and nobody takes time to sit down and just like talk about meaningful things. And I think you're right that food does bring people together.
Yeah, they come, the guests, you know, so I go from 12 to 6, just prepare a meal, whatever I'm doing. And then they come at 6. I have a drink and I treat it like they come to my house, like super social. There does happen to be a bunch of cameras around.
Yeah.
There's no waiting around. It's all very one big goes on. I usually have 1, 2, 3, 4 locations: kitchen, outside, bar.
Love that.
So we move through, like, people are there for 4 hours. I was like, maybe they should come for 3. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Because I'm talking, you want to sit with Common, you want to sit with Serena for like that time and make sure they're happy. But I definitely learned so much, like what I should do and what works. And when I was looking at the edits, and all the editing was me being vain and taking out shots that look bad. Get that out of there. It looked terrible. Oh my God. What are you thinking?
That would be me.
Why do you hate me so much? It's my show. So I look forward to, done the first season and, looking forward to doing the next.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Like you said, with music, you're on a talk show and they want you to play your music and fuck off. So, because I think you are so unexpected of what I would have thought that you were going to be.
I knew I should do that show.
I'm serious. And like, you have such a calming presence and you're so articulate and engaged, and it's a perfect thing for you to be doing, I feel like.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. It's so amazing to hear these journeys, separate people, the same way that you're doing it with your podcast.
Totally.
You want people on here who've done something. You don't care what it is.
Yes.
Make sure you've done something and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And it's when you get that, because the best thing about it is, even though everyone is completely different, you see the similarities in the journeys,
Totally.
and the obstacles and the refusals to quit, the rejection. It's like, my kids, it's not their fault, but it's like life is a switch for them. They want something, Amazon, it arrives.
Oh, I know. Well,
I'm like, stop getting Pokemon cards already. What is going on in this house?
Yeah, but instant gratification is very much like,
It's Christmas every day at my house.
That's
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, do we need, because obviously they grow and they need things, so I don't mind any clothes they need, and I want them to feel comfortable. But that instant thing is really hard because the culture is all about that, and you see that frustration that when things don't go like that, it's wild,
yeah.
Especially like with what they're doing with music and things like that. Kids are so used to getting things so quick.
I know.
My husband, he has kids, and his oldest wants to be an actor, and he's brilliant. He's amazing. Dom's always like, you know what? If you want my help putting you on tape, like, I'm happy to come over and help give you some. They
That
do
is
not
so
want our
great.
help. It's so funny.
Yeah, well, it's really good. It's better because at this age they should be. I'm lucky they're still talking to me because
Totally.
because they should be independent of
Yeah.
me. I'm amazed because how did you manage, or just Miley's drive, but from 13 to want to work? That's a lot because
She did.
I'm worried about my kids. If they hope you're going to be okay in the van. Good luck.
Right?
Good luck out there, because it takes a fire.
Yeah.
Whatever your genre, whoever you are, whatever age you are in your career, it takes guts to go on tour. Even actually more guts for a small shitty tour
Totally.
than a fantastic sellout. The most people, and I consider myself like a working musician now, it's like, it's not all the applause, although the applause is great.
It's not at all.
And that's an amazing thing to keep wanting to do that.
I mean, I
That
know, like, she was always so driven like that.
was.
Right.
Like, she always wanted to work. I mean, when she was like 8 years old, she had Sparkle's cleaning service. Do you remember this?
Yes.
When she would go around and she would wash people's windows with newspaper, because newspaper was all the rage on how do you wash. Like, she was just always, and she was like drawing up her flyers and posting them. Like, she just
Steve Jobs or something.
seriously.
Yeah, she just has this energy. It's
She
like,
does.
I don't know where it comes from or how, but like, she is firing on all cylinders
At
at
all
all times, from the minute her eyes open to the minute they
They
go to
close.
sleep. Like, it's crazy the energy that girl
Yeah,
has.
it really truly is. I also didn't want her to always only be Hannah Montana, because I knew how talented she was.
It's such hard work on a set.
Such hard work. And then,
Dusty, hot, sweaty,
oh,
gross.
it's dark,
Long hours.
really dark on set. Her first tour that she did, Miley Cyrus opened for Hannah Montana. So not only was she doing one show a night, she was doing two.
Wow.
And it was really crazy, but she still loved it.
Because that's what it takes, like if you have to have that, whoever you are, whatever you choose to do, if you don't have that fire,
You do.
I think it's impossible.
I think so
it's the
too.
Fire.
Too,
It's
yeah.
the fire. More so than ability in some extent, because again, like I say, there's a million better guitar players than me, but they don't have that thing,
I mean, there's always going to be somebody that's better than everybody, right? It's like, there's always going to be somebody there to
Exactly.
replace you. I mean, for me, I hate TikTok because I get on there and all of a sudden it seems like everyone's a DJ And I'm like, okay, well, what's the point? There's 10,000 million DJs in the world. Like, why would anyone, book me or give me the job when everybody else can do it and is probably better? But if you let yourself go there, I feel like that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like it's
the age of the unique now. Yeah. Now we're in the age of the unique. You just find your niche, whatever it is, behind decks, on stage, regular, whatever it is. It's so difficult for people now because it feels the only thing that will get you through is that fire.
Yep.
If it's literally like Darwinism. You just sink or swim.
Totally.
Gotta just have that fire.
Yeah.
So
and being willing to work the hardest, right? Like I think
that's what I mean.
It's like there's always going to be somebody there that's willing to put in more time and more effort if you're not. And I think you're right. Like you have to be so passionate about what you're doing to like find that level of success. So.
It is a beautiful world. Unique qualities get rewarded. Similarities don't get rewarded as much, but unique qualities really, people gravitate towards that. Because it's so authentic, because that's what it is.
I think authenticity is everything.
Me too.
I really do.
Well, you said you're working on new music.
Yeah.
We would love to hear about the new album. It's done?
Yeah. It's all done. Out? Bobby, when's it coming out?
July 18th. Oh.
July. Is it? Yeah. And the single will be first. It's called I Beat Loneliness.
Ooh. Oh. Like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is good.
That is good. Are you touring as well?
Yeah. I'm like leaving here and going on tour until December, I think.
Oh, wow.
I come back I go for a month. I go to South America next week.
Love South America.
Then I come back and I do Canada.
Okay.
Like 15 dates in Canada because no one has done that for a while.
Yeah.
Canada, I guess.
How is touring different for you now than it was when you were younger?
It's weird because I went through the spell when I first began. I toured and there was no horizon in my life and I was like, oh, free. And then I had kids and I would tour and I probably still would tour too much and I would had a heartbreak about missing them, just feeling terrible that they'd be going to bed and I wasn't there. And I just felt shitty because everything has a sacrifice. Sacrifice is nothing. Fire and sacrifice, right? And then now they're a little bit older. This is 11. You want to move to Cleveland? I'll stay home more. You live the life you live. I got to go on tour. I don't know what you think, but there is a direct link between when I leave home and you order from Amazon.
Yeah,
There's a direct link. And I don't come from a rich family. I don't have anyone backing me. It's all about what I can create. So, and now it's a weird time because I actually get to figure out if the job I did with my boys was valid because they're in the world. Totally. You could think they're amazing, oh, my son's a superstar. He won a basketball championship at 8 years old, whatever it is. Out in the world, going to be driving, dealing with people, having to deal with angry people, having to deal with people rejecting them, having to deal with all these things we're talking about. It really fascinates me. I have confidence in them, but it strikes me that this is an incredible time to be viewing what they're like as people, because they have to be. All I cared about is they're likable. You can't have unlikable children. I say be likable, be funny, polite. I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah,
totally.
So. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song off the new album?
I am just so happy with it because it's just weird because you do all this work, the details that go in. It's just a collection of details, a series of details, over 43 minutes. It opens with a song called Scars and it says the lyric is scars, angels written on your body. It's all about mental health, I think. There's the I Beat Loneliness is a song. Everyone is Broken is another song. It's not down. It's it's an understanding perspective that if you take the position that everybody's broken and if you look at people with a very gentle, empathetic eyes and considerate ways, you can understand them a lot better than if you see them as these adults. There's this great guy, Alain de Botton, this philosopher from England. He talks about how if your partner is just like pissing you off and he said, if you think about all the patience and all the kindness you give to a baby, they reject their food that, oh, you must be having this, your stomach must be hurting, or the weather's terrible. But if your partner comes in and says something to you that just doesn't sit with you because you've had your own kind of a day and it gets you and you just want to you get annoyed about them, but it really helps if you stop and think of them as a really big fat baby, big fat cute baby. And you go, well, I wonder what happened today.
Exactly.
Did somebody do this to you? What was that happened? And you can usually unravel it. Whereas I've obviously spent, like everyone, a lifetime of not unraveling and sort of like zipping against each other, So that's a really helpful thing that I found to do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Would love to come to a show. We'll have to look up your date.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play the Forum.
Oh,
later
That's
on.
great.
that would be
So
amazing.
You have to let us know.
Let's play What's the Tea?
Okay.
We have this little game. It's not really a game. There's no stakes, but it's sort of like a rapid fire where we just ask you questions. But if there's anything you don't like, we can just skip it. It used to be more fun. She used to smoke weed, and it used to be you have to smoke weed if you don't want to answer, and then everybody would get high. Way more fun. But Tish is sober, so it's boring now.
Quick, let's play the boring game.
Can we
It was
please
way more
call
fun.
this the boring game?
Boring game. That is
Okay,
the new.
Gavin just named it because I'm always like, what's the tea is so,
I know. Like when Wiz was here, everybody was stoned,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
out of
so
breath.
fun. Yeah.
I think I've never been the same since.
Khalifa Kush.
Khalifa Kush.
It really,
yeah.
really gotcha.
Okay, what's the one dish you would eat every day and never get tired of?
Eggs and bacon.
Me too.
You guys are what's your sign?
Scorpio.
Oh,
I
my mom
love
was a
Scorpios. Okay,
Now,
interesting.
you guys can be stubborn.
That's why I like them.
Really. And so she's a Gemini.
Yeah, but I'm a Scorpio.
Well, I'm a Taurus, so we can be stubborn too. But I don't know. We have a lot of similarities.
Who's the most unexpected person you've had as a guest on your cooking show so far?
All of them.
All of them. Who is your dream guest?
It's really exciting to think about who I'd have. I don't know. Miley.
There you go. That would be good. I feel like we could make that happen.
That's amazing. She would probably just absolutely love that.
I know.
What's one thing fans would be surprised to learn about you that doesn't involve music or cooking?
I just got a new dog.
A new dog? What kind?
Well, that's the issue. There's the problem. I got this incredible dog 5 days ago from the pound. My son got him from the pound. Well, we wanted to get him. I wanted to get 2 dogs, but I start with one. So he wanted to get a German Shepherd. We wanted a dog to look after the house, right? We're looking. Then he's looking on all the websites, on all the shelters. And I wanted to get someone from after the fires, the Pasadena Humane Foundation. I gave some money to them because all those animals were coming in burnt. And I was thinking, I don't know how to help all the people. My director of my show lost his house and the thing, but I wanted to get a dog and they were going to help me at Pasadena. But my son's impulsive, is 18. So he fell in love with a dog from the East LA shelter.
That's where I got my German Shepherd.
So he goes there. And I said, I can't go there with you last week. I said, it's too much going on. I said, I'm going on tour away 5 months this year. Is this a good idea? I don't think it is. Are you sure you can look after this dog? I'm going to help you not hear all this. It was a freak. I was just like white noise to him. He could not hear. All he could think of was the picture of the dog. So he goes through pound. I said, I can't go to the pound. If I go to the pound, I'm going to come out with 5 dogs.
Absolutely.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm so soft like that, right? They go with my assistant. They go together. And then he FaceTimes me because I said, find out if the dog is aggressive. That's all I care about. I cannot have an aggressive dog. If he's friendly, boom, we've got a dog.
Yeah.
If he's not friendly to you, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes there and he sees this dog. It was named Sam, but the dog doesn't know his name. He'd come in and it's this beautiful black German Shepherd. And so he calls me up. He's like, Dad. And he's in the building. All the dogs are barking. I can hear Pom barking. I said, what's the story with the Pom? Because I had a Pom before. I was like, what's the story of the Pom? I can't take it. Mm-hmm. What's that story with that guy? He goes, he's looking, the dog's really sweet because he's really friendly. He's so nice. And he goes, remember, because we were going to get a dog before and then I canceled the dog because I was just too busy and I was away and it wouldn't go back between the 2 places and I wasn't there. So I was like, we can't do it. It's not possible. So I had to cancel this dog that they'd all got. So I was actually up in Santa Barbara at that really fancy Fairmont hotel. Yeah, spending a fortune. And I had to cancel the dog, so they just hated me. Not only was I spending a fortune there, they disliked me for the weekend because I'd let them down. I understood. So he's ringing me from the lobby of the East LA shelter. He goes, Dad, this dog. And I thought, you know what? He needs to be believed in. The dog and my son. I was like, you get that dog.
Oh.
So, okay, they're going to neuter him. Then we can take him home in the next couple of days. I was like, okay, we're doing it. I was like, oh my God, I was stressed, sweating. And then he goes to get him. They call him the next morning. Oh, he's been done this morning. He can pick him up after 12. So I was like, oh my God. So we had to go get the leashes. So we go to get him and we bring him back, and he's big. I'm a little concerned. You know, he's not, you know, he's like, it's a handful. It's a real dog, real big dog. So we're walking with him. He's bouncing a bit, but we get him in the car, and he's really friendly, like super, super friendly, like lab friendly shepherd size, right?
Wow.
So it's like, oh my God. So we get him home, and now I took him to see a dog trainer. And we found out, which is a bit of a disaster, that he's a German Shepherd Kita mix.
Oh.
Shep Kita. So that's so he's amazing, but he doesn't like other dogs.
Oh.
So that's a real worry for me.
I had one like that.
We might be fostering him. So I've given him his name. So he's just got neutered today. That was the call I was making when I came in. I didn't want to call during the podcast, and he's all good. He's great, and they fixed his tooth. So when he went in, he'd been hit by a car. Oh. His shoulder was dislocated, so he'd been in a crate for 6 weeks. So they said dog bites, NA or no. So, but he'd never been around dogs. So now I have this sweetest, greatest dog, but I'm got 2 trainers to help me. One is telling me I shouldn't keep the dog and I should just foster it. And I should find somewhere that's more appropriate for it. And I've got another one who's flying in from Scottsdale, unexpectedly. I thought I was just talking to her, and she said, I'll come and see him. And she's going to tell me straight up if she thinks she can get him to where it's okay. Because my son wanted to take him to college, to see his girlfriend. He wanted to visit her, and they wanted to move to San Diego while I was doing music. So now I'm in a quandary. So I'm in hell. But like, I'm in love with this dog. So he's now been neutered. He now knows his name, which is Kaya. And he's learning. He's incredible. Oh. He walks with me, and he slept in the bedroom last night for the first time. He's perfect. But it's challenging to have anyone. I'm a dog lover, so for me to have a dog that doesn't love other dogs is super ironic.
How old is he?
No one knows, about 18 months.
So he's still young.
He's still young. Yeah. He's incredible. And like this morning, the vet was saying like he had this is probably really boring for your listeners.
It's not for me though.
That he'd sniffed the other dogs come in at 7:30. I took him in this morning, but he didn't go ape shit at the door. And they said if you had a dog aggressive, really dangerous, they'd be flying at the door. It'd be rage. He had none of that. He's intrigued. But he definitely was, he growled when we took him to the train and he saw other dogs. But we're in a tiny room. He hadn't walked still for 2 months because of his shoulder. So that's an Akita Shepherd mix that needs to run and be free.
Totally.
So he's still got him neutered. So he's still got another 7 days he can't run.
Even if you don't end up keeping him, I feel like you'll find someone that's...
Oh, there's an only chance on earth if I got rid of him or gave him to someone, he's coming in like trained, isn't he? Yeah. So then it's not a handful for someone.
Right.
They need that specific dog. But I love him, and it's really painful for me. So I spent 4 days overwhelmed of how I'm going to cope with him, and I just felt confident. And then the trainer rang me yesterday and said, I think I got to put this in universe. I've got to tell you, this is a very serious dog, and you should make sure you're, So I was like, oh shit. So now I'm just like destroyed.
Oh, that's hard.
Now my heart is broken. But I thought the best, if I do, my son saved his life.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Oh, totally.
So I said, this is a beautiful story. We're collateral damage within it. We take him, and so I present an amazing dog. And by that time that happens, I'm never giving him up.
Yeah.
If I could find a place, the trainers are going to come and see my house. That's why I looked at you hard. And they're going to tell me if it's fair to keep him on my property only. And I'm not going to set him up to fail, take him out on walks. Why am I doing that?
Right.
Why did I do that to him? So if he can't do that, I can muzzle him, but I just don't want to do that. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, that's
It's okay. I love that when you pick.
So that's what they don't know. No one knows that about me.
Aww.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, we can't wait to hear about where he ends up. What happens
I know.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself while writing the new album?
Well, David Bowie said it's the best. So I apologize for using someone else to answer your question, but he's a good one. He says the funny thing about getting older is that you become the person you should have been all along. So I think that I made sort of more different records. So, last record was the Art of Survival, and that was because I'd gone through some crazy things, And I thought that having a duration and a career was survival. And so I just figured I had an art to surviving, because I have an art to surviving. And then this one, this is my new record. It's my most personal yet. Because it's like, well, who was making the other records?
Exactly.
Because I've always been personal.
Yeah.
But this seems to be because I realized that there's a horizon in my life, whereas when I began there wasn't. I've become a better editor. So I think that I used to let things go and think it was really artistic to be like Jack Kerouac. First thought, best thought. Lazy, by the way. But that's what he said. First thought, best thought. So I'd be like, that's great. That's fine. And I think that sometimes I would let people go. Because I think when you have a great lyric, and I think this record's full of them, for me, anyone likes my lyrics will be, they don't let you go. They're like a clamp. Like if you choose to listen to a song, it will clamp you. There will be phrases that clamp you.
Yes.
It doesn't go by. Like some people, like music is good or bad, but to me I either have music that I can remember it, otherwise, like sometimes R&B, which is not my favorite genre, some great R&B. I love broken R&B, but not the regular one. I'm just too dumb to understand it. I can't remember what it doesn't hold me. And then something else I love, it grabs me. I hold it. It's like a rock face. I just got it. And so what it is I just became a better editor. So it's full of
Interesting.
Rock face lyrics, if you like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Love that. What's the most memorable fan interaction you've ever had?
I've partnered up with this incredible company, We Connect, the amazing addiction recovery place. And there's a place I have on the album, because it's all about people who have mental health problems. There's a worldwide website for suicidal thoughts. Any country in the world, you go onto that website, wherever you are, you can always find someone. So anyone who's to consider suicide, they come to me. So many times. Fans are like, that's what they talk about, is the lyrics. Always.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was back in the day, it was like, I love your hair or something like that, but no one cares anymore. So it's just that stuff. People connect to me when they say I went through so much hard time. I also had a fireman come up to me at the Troubadour, and he said to me, you know what? I was in a fire and I saved a man from a burning building, and all I could hear in my head was Machine Head.
Wow.
And when I was going through the fire, bring that man out, that's all I heard. So that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. There's a fireman. They're really good. They're the real brave, real heroes.
What's the craziest rumor you've ever heard about yourself?
That I'm dead.
Oh, gosh.
I've heard that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's okay. I've heard that rumor about myself, too.
Pretty absolute.
Yeah.
Pretty absolute.
It is.
It's the best example.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who said that to you?
Well, it was when Miley did Hannah Montana. They would see me out and they'd be like, well, that's not her real mom. Her real mom's dead.
Oh my God.
And I read it all the time, and it was like so insane.
That is insane.
It was constant.
Oh my God.
I was like, I want to know the one cooking tip you swear by that everybody should know, because I don't know how to cook very well.
Me neither.
It's weird with these things. I'd love to. I can't wait to offer any insight. But it's like a real beginner, basic, intermediate, or more?
Basic.
Okay. Bringing any meat to room temperature is essential.
Okay.
If you're going to cook anything that is, protein based, it has to be room temperature. And for the next level, simply, if it's not room temperature, then you can just place it in a Ziploc bag and place it in warm water.
So like before you cook it?
Yeah, it has to be room temperature, because otherwise it will cook really unevenly. And the other one is that if ever you're doing a recipe that calls for room temperature butter and you didn't remember to bring the butter out, you just grate it.
My assistant's going. She cooks a lot. Yeah.
So those two things.
That's funny. I was giving Dom shit last night because he had 2 steaks just sitting out on the counter to like thaw, but they were like room temp, and I was worried about it. I was like, Mom, there's meat on the counter. She was like, yeah, it's Dom's. But I was thinking like
he always lets it
back
set out to room temperature.
Well, maybe he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, otherwise it cooks unevenly.
That's great. Okay,
yes,
so the last one
too.
is, tell us about the most wild night you've ever had on tour with your bandmates. There's probably been lots.
shift gears.
We
there.
really just went from.
There was, you mean the spring break in Jacksonville? Were you there? Was that you?
Maybe.
Probably. It could have been.
Just leave it at Jacksonville.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
What happens in Florida stays in Florida.
Seriously,
There's some crazy shit that goes.
Florida is wild.
Last thing we're going to do, we have a little segment called Dear MT, or people writing questions asking for Tish's advice, because apparently she's the queen of advice. I don't know. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
It's always great.
This one is just a written question, so I'll just read it. It's from Tracy.
Okay.
Hi, ladies. I just started listening to the podcast a couple weeks ago now, and I love, love, love it. I have a question for each of you. Tizzle, what arm exercises do you do? They look fantastic.
Tracy, I love you. What did I say yesterday?
What did you need to start working out again, or what?
That, and I said I feel like my arms. I want to not wear sleeveless dress to Keys' wedding because I feel like
because of your arms.
So
She's the most self-conscious person. Yeah.
the dress is back on.
All right. What arm exercise?
Honestly, my arms are not great. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, she says they are.
Well, I cover that well, but I was working out a lot. And, I, had a lot of anxiety this year, and working out, like, I just kind of pushed that to the side, which I'm going to start working out again. But, do I need to do a TikTok on my arm exercises?
Here we go.
Tracy,
no.
I'm going to TikTok my arm exercises. But honestly, I do believe that, like, you don't have to get crazy with weights, 3 to 5 pounds. Miley and I talk about this all the time. Super simple, 3 to 5 pound weights. I think consistency is key. But I'm going to do a TikTok of my arm exercises.
We can't wait for
in long sleeves.
Oh my God. Okay. She also has a question for me. She asked, what kind of horses do I ride, and do I prefer to ride Western or English? I have ridden both, but I mostly ridden English my whole life. Competing, I've always done English disciplines, show jumping. I grew up eventing a little bit. But I do love both. And these days, I find myself in a Western saddle more than I have before, and I love it. And it's something I would love to learn more about, the Western discipline. I'd love to get into some of the reining and Western performance stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I really would. It's funny. Most people think sitting in a Western saddle is more comfortable and easier. But for me, there's so much bigger, and there's so much more room to be floating around up there. My little tiny English saddle is just it's built for me, and I feel very secure in it because it's just this one seat that you sit in and you're locked.
Right. But you don't have anything to hold on to.
You don't hold on to on the Western saddle either, though. That's not what it's for.
What are cowboys doing cattle? What are they?
Western. But the horn is not to hold on to. That's for your rope and all your gear. And actually, the reason cowboys use the horn on the Western saddle to tie the rope around, and then they rope the calf, and then it's tied to your horn on your saddle. And that's how you keep the calf. So there's a purpose for the horn, but it's not held on.
Wow. Wow.
No.
So I would love to learn more about that.
Fun fact.
I did not know that.
My guitar player in Bush, I call him my guitar player. He's his own man. Chris is my best friend, my brother.
Oh.
He discovered a few years ago, he just fell in love with being a cowboy.
That's so cool.
And he got horses. Or a horse. He's had a couple now.
Wow.
And he has a place up in Northern California. And he goes up and he was working on a ranch. For real. Cool. But the traditional proper, he's so authentic. He couldn't possibly just go and ride a horse around Griffith Park on a trail. He's got to go up there. He became a cowboy. I mean, he is so roping, all that stuff out on and he has to move 1,500 cattle from one plane to another, and that's what he does.
That is sick.
Yeah. He's a cowboy now.
That's so cool. Is he single? Should I set him up with my friend?
No, he's very, very not single.
I'm always thinking about Emily.
But it's very thoughtful of you, though.
She wants a cowboy.
Oh,
I know.
He's a handsome cowboy too. It's a shame. Well, it's not a shame. It's a shame for her, but he's a handsome cowboy.
Okay, well, we love that. Anyway, I think that answered her question. What kind of horses? My horses are mostly warm bloods because that's what we use for show jumping. Yeah, warm bloods. Mine was imported from the Czech Republic is where I got her.
Wow.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Tracy said, P.S. I would love to send you some chocolate from Chocolate World. She's from Hershey. And she said she just needs an address and she'll send us some chocolate.
Great. Send it on
our way. We love that.
We do love chocolate.
We love you really love
I
chocolate.
do.
Yeah. Do you have a sweet tooth?
So sweet.
Me too. Me too.
Us too, yeah.
Yes. I've taken a month off.
Oh,
I took a month off of alcohol, sugar, carbs, everything. Just
Wow.
like, just protein. Just, I saw it one day. I do these, like, I like that water fast, 3-day water fast. I do the ice bath every day.
She needs to do the ice bath.
It's incredible.
See?
I just can't be that cold.
Incredible. I did it today. I hated it. Every one of the 3 minutes I did, I was like, this is fucking torture. And then you get out and you just, it's that battle with yourself.
Yeah.
It's incredible. When I first went in, I could last 10 seconds. Now it's like 41 degrees and
Mental fortitude. Buddy.
it's incredible. I sing scales. Just that's all I can do. If I sit there and try and tough it out, I'm just like, no, I've got every excuse. I'm wriggling, but no, I sit there and do my warm-ups.
Wow. I'm going to get you in a bed.
No.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
I think that's the one thing, like just being cold.
I know you hate it.
I hate it.
She does.
Like I thought it was freezing today. Like I was outside. I was like,
It was.
Yes. I was like, it's cold. Well, this has been so fun.
This has been great, Gavin. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me so much.
We're so excited about the new album.
Yes.
We're absolutely coming to a show.
Totally.
So make sure you guys check out the tour, and the album's coming out July 18th. New record.
And the single, The Land of Milk and Honey, is soon. Soon.
Okay, I used to sing a song. Wait.
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's go to that land with Molly.
What?
Where the milk and honey grow. Come on.
Oh shit, that's the song. Oh no. I thought I wrote it. Oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. I need to get onto my publisher.
Oh no. All right. Well, Stoners, we love you guys, and we'll see y'all next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation and Hopetown Entertainment.